George Miller, what a pleasure to have you on TCM. Welcome.
Thank you. This is going to be really interesting. Thank you.
I know, I can't wait to delve into the movies you've chosen for us to watch tonight. But before we get there, I want to ask you about Furiosa, your latest film in the Mad Max series. How do you see this film? Is it a prequel to Mad Max Fury Road or more of an origin story of the character of Furiosa?
It's both, actually. Very much a prequel. It's definitely an origin story. Fury Road happened over 3 days and 2 nights. It's very compressed in time. Furiosa, this happens over about 18 years, from when she's about 10 to 28. So they're quite different stories. In order to tell this Fury Road, which happens over a short period of time, and where the exposition was on the run, we had to know not only where all the characters came from, but every vehicle, every prop, every utterance, every gesture. It had to have everybody working on the film had to know, basically, its origins. So we wrote what turned out to be a screenplay for Furiosa in all those years before, and we wrote a basically prose novella on the year before Max. We meet Max in Fury Road. So all of that was done in order to make Fury Road. And so when that got traction, we ended up doing Furiosa. And if this gets traction, we might do Mad Max the year before before Fury Road. So that's a long description of how we got there.
That's amazing. And how do you see the Mad Max series? Because it's not a traditional film franchise. You know, you have different actors playing the same characters, and sometimes you have the same actors playing different characters.
That's right.
Do you see them as standalone films, like an anthology of different stories?
Well, after the first Mad Max, I never thought I didn't even think I'd make another film. I didn't think I was cut out to make films. But all the things I learned on the first Mad Max led me to make the second Mad Max. And after that, I thought there won't be another Mad Max. Well, we did a third. And then 30 years went by, and I never wanted to, go there again. But the story kept coming back, and that led us to Fury Road. Now, Furiosa is quite different than that. It's not a standalone film. You could literally watch all of Furiosa, go straight into Fury Road, and it would be one long movie.
It's so interesting. I can't wait to see it. But let's get into your first pick for us on TCM tonight. How Green Was My Valley, directed by John Ford from 1941. And is it true that you first saw this film in boarding school?
My twin brother and I had our childhood in rural Australia, pretty remote, a place called Chinchilla. And my parents were coming down to Sydney. They were moving to Sydney. And they said, you can so we don't disrupt your schooling, we'll send you to boarding school. We thought it was a reformatory school. We were just little kids, about 8. And but it turned out we went to boarding school. And at that school, again, this is the late 50s, they would show movies on a Saturday night to the boarders. And for some reason, every so often, in the 1 year that we were there, they played How Green Was My Valley about 3 times. And it really stuck with me. It was, I remember it really well, shivering in the cold, at least in winter, and watching this movie. And it just had a big impact on me. I had no awareness of John Ford and the way he made these movies, but there was something in the efficiency of his language. It was kind of shocking to me to learn years later that it wasn't shot in the coalfields of Wales. It was shot in California. And all actors and characters felt so authentic, and the world felt so authentic. It's a film that had a big influence on me, regardless of filmmaking. It was just something that was very seminal to me.
Well, George Miller, thank you so much for joining us on TCM tonight.
Oh, this will be great. Thank you.
And let's take a look at this film. Here it is from 1941, directed by John Ford. How Green Was My Valley? So that was How Green Was My Valley, and joining me once again to talk more about the film is the man who chose it for us to watch tonight, George Miller. So, George, what are your thoughts now on John Ford's filmmaking style now that you've been a director for so long?
Well, as everyone knows, he had a very, very clear idea of what the camera could do. It was interesting. In those days, the director would shoot the film, but wouldn't necessarily edit it. They'd move on to the next film in the studio system. And he shot in a way where it was almost impossible to cut the film, but for one way. So he'd only print the key takes, and he would actually predetermine where the cuts would be, not precisely to the frame. And he was very incredibly efficient in that way. And the camera was very free, but he used it in a very clear, minimalist and very efficient way.
And an interesting connection that we can make between Mad Max Fury Road and How Green Was My Valley is the character name of Anne Harriet.
Harriet. Oh, that just occurred to me.
Was that
where I got the name exactly right? Oh my God! Of course, that's where I got it from. See, I remember we had to come up with names, and it stuck me all those years. I'd forgotten completely. So the film had a big influence on me, obviously.
For you, how much do you prepare when you're making your films versus leaving room to kind of play around and find it in the edit?
Basically, films are made intuitively. When you're in the heat of the moment, you're not using that part of the brain that's analytical. So when you do a take, it's more a feeling and say, yes, that felt good, that hit the sweet spot. But you don't earn that intuitive sort of muscle power unless you do incredible amount of preparation beforehand. So every shot is thought out, every gesture is thought out, every motivation of every character, every word, everything is thought out, or you should do beforehand. Once you're there in the moment of recording it or shooting, and this particularly applies to the actors, you have to let all that preparation go and respond to exactly what's in front of you. And that's where the intuition takes over. I think it applies to every human endeavor. So you have to prepare like crazy in order to be free to do the work the best you can.
Well, George Miller, thank you so much for joining us on TCM tonight. It's such a pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks, Alicia. Yeah, it's really great. Thank you.
And if our audience wants to learn more about John Ford, they can listen to the latest series in TCM's podcast, The Plot Thickens, which is out next month. It is all about John Ford. And stay watching TCM now, because coming up after the break, George Miller and I will be talking about Akira Kurosawa and Seven Samurai.
Next on TCM, Seven Samurai, then the Battle of Algiers, and later, Lust for Life. Lend us an ear on TCM tonight.